Look closely at a single gray hair in your hand. Not the whole head. Just one strand. Most people see it as a simple sign of aging. A calendar problem? A genetics problem. It runs in my family. But as a doctor, I want to show you a deeper truth. Gray hair is not just time. It's biology. It's chemistry. It's stress signals. It's nutrient delivery. It's what happens when the tiny pigment factories inside your hair follicles start shutting down. Inside each hair follicle are specialized pigment cells called melanocytes. Their job is to produce melanin, the natural pigment that gives your hair its color: black, brown, blonde, red. When melanocytes are healthy, pigment is delivered into the hair shaft as it grows. But melanocytes are delicate. They are vulnerable to oxidative stress, a kind of rusting process that happens when your body accumulates too many free radicals and not enough protective, and they are also vulnerable to inflammation, poor circulation, hormonal shifts, thyroid problems, and deficiencies in key nutrients like copper, zinc, B12, iron, and folate. So when gray hair appears, it can be a message, sometimes subtle, sometimes loud, that your follicle environment has changed. Now, here's what most people get wrong. They go straight to the outside. They look for shampoos, dyes, oils, miracles. They treat gray hair like paint. But hair color is not paint. Hair color is produced from within. That's why today, we're talking about 6 foods that act like natural dye. Not because they stain your hair, but because they can help support the biology that keeps pigment cells working longer. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to reveal the biggest mistake people make when they try to fix gray hair. One habit that silently increases oxidative stress in the follicle and speeds up pigment loss, even if you eat healthy. Let's begin. Black sesame seeds, the pigment builders. Copper plus antioxidant protection. Black sesame seeds have been used for centuries in traditional Asian nutrition to support hair health. And while tradition alone isn't proof, science helps us understand why black sesame gets so much attention. Let's begin with pigment chemistry. To produce melanin, melanocytes rely on specific enzymes, especially one called tyrosinase. And this enzyme system depends on minerals, particularly copper. When copper is too low, pigment production can slow. Black sesame seeds naturally provide copper, along with other supportive minerals like zinc, iron, calcium, and magnesium. Copper is not something people talk about every day, but it matters. It's involved not just in melanin production, but also in connective tissue, energy metabolism, and antioxidant defense. Now let's add the second mechanism: oxidative stress protection. Black sesame contains unique lignans like sesamin and sesamolin. These compounds have been studied for antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. Think of them as a protective layer that helps your body reduce the rust that damages fragile cells. Why does that matter for gray hair? Because melanocytes are among the first cells to struggle when oxidative stress rises in the follicle. When oxidation increases, pigment cells can go into survival mode. They conserve energy. They stop producing pigment efficiently. Over time, the hair grows with less and less melanin until it appears gray or white. So, black sesame supports hair pigmentation from 2 directions. Mineral foundation for melanin chemistry, especially copper. Antioxidant protection for pigment cell survival. Practical use. Simple habit. Add 1 tablespoon per day to oatmeal, yogurt, smoothies, or salads. For a better absorption, use ground black sesame or chew thoroughly. Whole seeds sometimes pass through digestion without fully releasing nutrients. You can also mix black sesame into a homemade hair support, paste snack, sesame plus honey plus a pinch of cinnamon. But don't expect overnight changes. Hair grows slowly. If your hair grows roughly 1 centimeter per month, real changes, if they happen, are gradual. What you're building is a healthier follicle environment. Now let's move to a food that works like a shield because it targets oxidative stress directly. Blueberries, the melanocyte shield. Anthocyanins. Against oxidation, if you want one word to remember about blueberries, it's this: protection. Blueberries are packed with natural plant pigments called anthocyanins, the compounds responsible for their deep blue-purple color. In the body, anthocyanins act as antioxidants and help calm inflammatory signaling. Now, I want you to picture your hair follicle like a tiny garden. Your follicle needs blood flow, nutrients, oxygen, and a calm environment. When that environment becomes inflamed or oxidized, pigment production becomes harder. Oxidative stress is like smoke filling that garden. The pigment cells don't die instantly. They simply work less efficiently. They become exhausted. Blueberries help because they reduce the oxidative load. And in many studies, diets rich in polyphenols, like those found in berries, are linked to better vascular and metabolic health. And metabolic health matters for hair because unstable blood sugar and chronic inflammation increase oxidative stress. Here's something many people don't connect. High sugar spikes and high refined carb diets increase oxidative stress and inflammation over time. That creates a hostile environment for So, blueberries, when eaten correctly, can support the opposite direction. Better blood sugar stability, better antioxidant support. Practical USI best method. Aim for 1/2 cup, most days fresh or frozen. Pair blueberries with protein and fat, like Greek yogurt, nuts, or chia. This slows the blood sugar rise and improves metabolic stability. If you do smoothies, keep it balanced. Blueberries, plus spinach, plus plain yogurt, plus a spoon of seeds. And here's an important note: blueberries are not sugar-free. They're healthy, but if you drink them as large fruit juices, you lose fiber and concentrate sugar. Whole berries are best. Next, we're going to talk about a food that changes the follicle's environment through something powerful. Blood flow. Beets the follicle circulation booster. Nitric oxide pathway. Your hair follicle is not dead. It's a living organ with constant activity. Growth cycles, cell division, keratin production, pigment production, and all of that requires delivery, oxygen, amino acids, minerals, and hormones. That delivery happens through your blood vessels. And specifically, for the scalp, it happens through microcirculation, tiny blood vessels that supply each follicle. When circulation is low, follicles become and when follicles are underfed, pigment cells often suffer. Now, beets are famous in nutrition because they contain dietary nitrates. These nitrates can be converted in your body into nitric oxide, a molecule that helps blood vessels relax and widen. When blood vessels widen, blood flow can improve. Now, I want you to think about what that means for a scalp follicle. Better blood flow means better delivery. Better delivery means better follicle support, and better follicle support means a healthier environment for melanocytes to keep doing their job. Beets also contain antioxidants like betalains, the pigments that give beets their intense color. So you're getting both circulation support and antioxidant support in one food. Practical, easy, simple plan. Use 1/2 cup cooked beets 2 to 3 times per week, or add a small portion of beet to a smoothie with berries balanced, not sugar heavy. If you do beet juice, keep it modest and pair it with protein or fiber. Now, let me be clear. Improved blood flow doesn't automatically turn gray hair back to dark, but it supports the infrastructure, like repairing the roads and bridges, before expecting the factory to produce more product. And speaking of factories, pigment production depends on nutrients. The next food is a foundation for those nutrients, especially B12. Eggs, the B12 plus biotin foundation for hair growth and follicle energy. When people talk about hair, they often focus on shampoo and oils, but hair is built from protein, and hair follicles depend on nutrient energy. Eggs are one of the most nutrient-dense foods available. They provide high-quality protein, amino acids, or keratin, biotin important for hair structure and keratin metabolism. Choline supports cell membranes and metabolism, and depending on the diet source, important fat-soluble nutrients. But for gray hair, there's a key angle I want you to remember: B12. B12 deficiency is surprisingly common, especially as people age. Why? Because absorption depends on stomach acid and intrinsic factor, which can decline with age or digestive issues. Certain medications can also affect B12 absorption. Why does B12 matter for hair? B12 supports red blood cell production and nervous system function. Red blood cells carry oxygen. Oxygen is essential for tissue renewal. A follicle is one of the most rapidly dividing tissues in the body, which means it has high nutrient demands. If B12 is low, follicles may struggle, and when follicles struggle, pigment production can become less reliable. Eggs don't reverse gray by themselves, but they help build a stronger foundation for follicle health, growth, quality, and nutrient delivery. Practical use. For most people, 1 to 2 eggs at breakfast is a simple routine. Pair with leafy greens for folate and antioxidants. Add healthy fat like olive oil or avocado to enhance nutrient absorption. Now, let's talk about leafy greens, because they are one of the most underestimated tools for oxidative stress defense and mineral balance. Leafy greens, spinach, kale. The antioxidation team, folate plus vitamin C plus mineral support when it comes to gray hair. People focus on pigment, but forget the environment. Your follicle environment is shaped by inflammation, oxidation, and nutrient availability. Leafy greens like spinach and kale deliver a powerful combination. Folate important for DNA repair and cell division. Vitamin C supports collagen and antioxidant defense. Magnesium supports hundreds of enzymatic reactions, are important for oxygen delivery, and plant compounds that reduce oxidative stress. Now, there's a fascinating discussion in science around follicle oxidation and a compound called hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is a normal molecule in the body, but when antioxidant enzymes are overwhelmed, it can accumulate. Some researchers suggest that this oxidative buildup can interfere with melanin pathways in the hair follicle. One enzyme that helps neutralize oxidative compounds is your body produces catalase, but it relies on adequate nutrition and a balanced internal environment. Leafy greens do not inject catalase into your hair, but they support the nutritional conditions that allow antioxidant enzymes to work more efficiently. Practical use. Aim for 1 to 2 cups daily, raw or lightly cooked. Light sauteing with olive oil can make greens easier to digest for some people. Add lemon juice for vitamin C and improved mineral absorption. Now we come to the final food, and this one connects hair to something many people don't expect: the gut, inflammation, and mineral metabolism. If I had to choose a single nut that supports hair-related systems, walnuts would be near the top because they work through inflammation control, mineral support, and gut health. Walnuts contain omega-3, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. Omega-3 fats help reduce inflammatory signaling in the body. And when inflammation is lower, tissues like hair follicles tend to function more smoothly. Walnuts also provide key minerals such as copper and zinc, both linked to enzymatic processes and tissue maintenance. But the most underestimated benefit is the gut connection. Your gut bacteria influence inflammation, nutrient absorption, and metabolic balance. If your gut is inflamed or your digestion is weak, you may absorb fewer nutrients, even if you're eating the right foods. And that matters for gray hair because pigment production is a nutrient-intensive process. So walnuts support hair from the inside out. Lower inflammation support, nutrient balance support, gut ecosystem, practical use. A small handful, 4 to 7 walnuts. Most days, add to yogurt, salads, or oatmeal, paired with berries for a strong antioxidant combination. The big mistake that speeds up gray hair. Don't skip this now. I promised you the biggest mistake people make. They focus on adding good foods, but ignore the daily habit that increases oxidative stress the most. That habit is a constant cycle of high sugar plus refined carbohydrates, especially when eaten alone. Not because sugar causes gray hair overnight, but because repeated spikes increase inflammation and oxidative stress over time. And oxidative stress is the enemy of So if you want the strongest chance of slowing gray hair, the strategy is simple. Add protective foods like the 6 we covered. Reduce chronic oxidative triggers, especially sugar spikes. Improve circulation and nutrient absorption. This is how you support pigment biology from the inside. Quick summary: the 6 natural dye foods: black sesame seeds, copper plus, antioxidant lignans, blueberries, anthocyanins that protect pigment cells, beets, nitric oxide support for scalp, blood flow, eggs, protein plus, biotin plus, B12 foundation, leafy greens, folate plus vitamin C, plus oxidative defense, walnuts omega-3, plus minerals, plus gut support. Now, I want to hear from you. Which one of these foods do you already eat every week? Sesame, blueberries, beets, eggs, leafy greens, or walnuts? Comment below with the number 1 to 6 and tell me your age range. 40s, 50s, 60s, or 70 mais. If you want more science-based food strategies explained like a doctor, but simple enough to use daily like the video, subscribe and share this with someone who's noticing more gray hair than they expected. Because sometimes the mirror isn't showing you aging. Sometimes it's showing you what your body needs next.